Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sat Sangat Ji, welcome to the Ramgarhia Sabha Gurdwara in Slough. We're here today to present to you the Careers Fair, which is a newly launched initiative with the Sikh Hemkunt Society, which is a children's educational society. This has been launched off the back of a very tragic event that happened in Kenya with two young Sikh professionals, both brother and sister from the Nagi family. And they were very eminent in both their professions. The brother was a businessman and the daughter was a barrister. And they were always very keen to promote Sikh careers and ensure that our youth really could maximize on the opportunities that were available to them. And we've noticed that here in the UK that there has been an increasing demand indeed for Sikh careers and for the youth to come forward and to really be proud of who they are in their Sikhi Sarup. And what we're offering here today is a vast array of professionals to come and talk to youngsters from as young as 10, 11, those going for secondary school entrance exams in the 11 plus, right the way through GCSEs, A-levels, into university, and also career and job applications. We've had an astounding response so far. We did our first 2 weeks, the first one in Park Avenue Gurdwara in Southall, and the second at the Sri Guru Singh Sabha Gurdwara in Hounslow. And the response we had was overwhelming and humbling. We've had youth come from all over along with their parents, and there really has been a demand, so much so we are going to ensure that this is continued as an annual event. If you are interested, please do get in touch with us at sikhcareers@gmail.com. But do join me now to see what's happening inside the Gurdwara at this point. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're now inside the Gurdwara, where, as you can see to my right, we have the welcome desk for the Careers Fair, where anybody can come, they can inquire about the sort of help that they can get, and indeed what seva they themselves can offer. Auntie Ji over here is taking on details and is assisting in this seva. And to my left, we have one of the main organizers and indeed the brains behind this initiative. Auntie Ji, could you please tell us a little bit more about this program that's happening here today and that's been going on for the past few weeks?
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is really an initiative behind my brother and sister who I sadly lost in a car accident. They were professionals and did very well in their career, as to one being a businessman and one being a lawyer. What we decided, or what came out of it, was rather than being sad about them being lost, losing them, we wanted to show the world that yes, we have young professionals who can achieve a lot in their day and age. Just at a young age, they achieved a lot in their lifetime. So with that at the back of mind, Naginder Panji from Sri Hemkunt Sikh Society, we decided that we're going to launch the Career Fair.
Will this be an ongoing initiative?
This will be an ongoing initiative every year, maybe once or twice a year. We'll be having a Career Fair whereby children, likes of children, parents who don't understand anything about education or they need guidance for their children, they can come and ask questions. If they're not comfortable asking questions at the school, they can come and ask questions here with the professionals of all likes, and they can come and guide them as to what they need to know.
And what is the range of professionals that we have got on board with this in terms of giving this career advice and school and university advice?
We've got a vast amount. It's surprising, it's really an eye-opener as to the kind of professions we have in the Sikh community, with Sikhi Sarup, Sikh professionals, lawyers, barristers, IT professionals, accountants, opticians, dentists, actuarians, you name it, we have all of them, dentists, doctors. We've had two career fairs which we've had in Hounslow and Southall, which were absolutely successful and overwhelming with the kind of response we got from the Sangats, from the professionals who did voluntary seva, to come and guide the children as to what sort of questions and answers they wanted. Uni students who came and gave advice on what sort of uni years they have and what is involved and what it takes to be a uni student and to keep your Sikhi Sarup, which was quite good and promising.
And how do you think this is going to benefit our Sikh youth in particular?
Big benefit. I think they can see that we've got professionals within the Sikh community that have a lot to offer, and I think being a Sikh, we should not be set aside by saying, oh, we can't do anything or we don't have anything to offer. I think we have got a lot to offer as a Sikh community, and if we all get together as a Sikh community and achieve what we have achieved in this little space of time, I think we can achieve a lot in time to come.
Thank you very much, Auntie Ji. So that's just a very brief insight and introduction into what's happening here today, and indeed will be going on and forward for many years to come as a long-term initiative. This is an incredible achievement, just to see the amount of seva, the time, the effort that people have put in to come and help these youth, and indeed the youth themselves and their parents for being so inspired and wanting to come and find out how they can not only better themselves but in turn better the community. So do please join us if you can. As I said, get in touch. It's the Sri Hemkunt Children's Youth Organisation, and you can also get in touch with us about the Careers Fair directly at sikhcareers@gmail.com, and there is the chance for scholarship information, university advice and career guidance. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So we're here in the actual Careers Fair itself, and we're just going to meet with a few of the young Sikh professionals who've kindly offered their time for this seva. The first person we're going to speak with is Hardeep Kaur. Hardeep, could you tell us a bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
So I work in the city, I work for Cartier, and I work in the press office. This involves working with journalists, magazines, writers to promote Cartier as a brand, basically. So I work across watches and jewellery, pushing stories on the brand.
That's particularly interesting. How do you find that? Because we don't have many of our Sikh youth who work in such a niche sector.
Well, luxury is a huge sector, and I think often youths, especially in Indian culture, go into very traditional jobs, so doctor, lawyer, which is very good, it's a secure job. But I find my job interesting because it's part of a broader industry, a massive industry, and it supports my interest as well. So there's some business there, but I meet with very interesting people, it's an interesting product, and I'm involved in a big brand's image, so it's very fulfilling, and I think it's sometimes good to step outside traditional careers because they can be as interesting, if not more, I would say.
And in terms of what you did at university, could you tell us a little bit more about that too?
So I studied literature at university for 3 years at UCL because it was a subject I enjoyed, and if you enjoy something you'll do very good at it, and in the future that's what people look at, how well you did at something. And then I stayed on UCL and did a master's in Shakespeare. That was a personal interest, but a master's can sometimes help in careers as well. And it gave me, I think, a good foundation, so a good ability to express myself, a good way to work independently, to research, and to build my own identity as well. I think you have to, in these sorts of subjects, have a good work ethic as well. So I think it held me in good stead.
And how do you feel you've managed to strike that balance? Because you obviously maintain your Sikh identity, but you've carved a very unique identity for yourself in what a lot perceive to be quite Western society. And how do you think you've managed to successfully strike that?
Well, I suppose it's my upbringing. So all of my family have worked very hard, and some have traditional jobs, and actually they all have traditional jobs apart from me. But it's how you've been brought up. So we're used to going to the Gurdwara, we went to Punjabi school, and my identity is really important to me. There's not many people who are Indian or Sikh in what I do, but that makes me feel even stronger because I have good morals and good beliefs that would help me day to day as well. So I think it all works together very nicely.
And one final question. What prompted you to come and do some seva here today at the Careers Fair?
I think it's a nice way to give back to a community because I don't always get the opportunity, and I think it's nice to encourage people from whichever age to achieve for something, whatever the subject or discipline, and to have more options because often they're not talked about. And that's it really.
Hardeep Kaur, thank you very much for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And we're very glad to welcome another young professional, Gulsharan Kaur. Gulsharan, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
I work in investment banking. I work currently at JP Morgan in Canary Wharf. I work in the legal and compliance department, and my main focus of my role is the prevention of insider trading and working on large transactions such as IPOs and M&As to regulate and ensure that we are in compliance with all the restrictions placed upon banks when we disseminate investment research.
And in terms of your educational background, could you give us a bit more of an insight into that, please?
Sure. So I studied law as an undergraduate, and I then proceeded to be called to the bar. So I did the BBC, which is now called the BPTC. Having been called to the bar, I then decided to move into banking, and I tried to find a role that would straddle both the banking world and the legal world. And I found that going into my current role as it is now provided an overlap into both of those spheres. I first started in this role at UBS in the investment bank there in New York, and then moved over to my team currently in JP Morgan. I think it was a good grounding to have a law background and a law degree because it hones you to be very analytical and very methodical in your approach, which are really easily transferable skills into any world of work, but especially into the banking sector.
And what is it that you're here to do today, and what's attracted you to come and give your time for this seva at the Sikh Careers Fair?
I think one of the main thrusts of actually volunteering and doing seva here today is to give to the youth something which my generation perhaps weren't given so readily. I know that my career path hasn't been straightforward, and where I've ended up today has been a roundabout way, sort of a meander to get to the role I am at now. And if I can provide any advice or guidance to the younger generation when they're looking to choose subjects for GCSEs, when they're looking at A-level options, trying to figure out what they want to study at university and how that might transfer into a potential role and a potential career, then I think that's something that our professional youth today should really take upon themselves to do. And this kind of seva is both practical and it's spiritual as well. We help in providing seva for the individuals and for the youth, but also it's giving our time back in a professional capacity, which is something that is often overlooked with our younger generation.
And you mentioned about the spirituality and Sikhi element. How have you been able to ensure that you maintain the balance between your Sikh identity whilst pursuing your professional, academic and career ideals?
I think the main benefit has been making sure that I've had grounding from a young age. When attending Sikhi workshops, Sikh youth camps, Punjabi school, and undertaking Punjabi GCSE and A-level has given me a background and given me a comfort level from which I know my identity and I know who I am as an individual and where I fit within this faith, and as a Sikh youth and as an individual, how that translates into the working world and the professional atmosphere that we work within these days. So I think having a really good grounding as an individual, and having, knowing your principles, knowing your morals, knowing who we are as a religion, as a faith, and what we do and what we're here for, provides a platform for anyone, any individual, whether they be around our age as young professionals or even elderly. It provides a good grounding for us to go out into the world and be proud of who we are, and also have an internal comfort, knowing that actually our identity is already set there for us. And really, practical things like, going to the Gurdwara, as often as you can, keeping in touch with, Sikh friends, making sure that you do your part, always keeping, your religion entwined with your day-to-day life. And so along with that grounding from the initial early stages, I think helps a lot going forward as a young Sikh professional.
Excellent. Kulcharan Kaur, thank you very much for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And we're joined by another one of our sevadars who's helping at the Careers Fair. Uncle Ji, could you please tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and your background and your educational background as well that's led you to now explore the path of being a research scientist and a businessman?
Okay. Originally, I did a degree in applied chemistry, and then from there, I wanted to go into research. So I got into a company which developed new products, and from there I've been working there for about 22 years altogether. Recently, I've ventured into a new business about 3 years ago. But yeah, it's a very good career and certainly worth considering.
And Uncle Ji, I know that you've been raised in a number of different countries. Could you give us a bit more insight into how you maintained your Sikhi Sarup as a youth and how you've maintained that even throughout your academic and professional career as well?
Okay, no, thank you for asking that. I was born in Nairobi in Kenya, so lived there until I was 2 years old. Then my family moved to Saudi Arabia. So lived there for 7 years. My dad was working with the United Nations. And then we emigrated to England. So yeah, throughout that time, we've kept our religion intact, and same through studies as well. Just that's the most important thing. If you can follow your religion, then everything else will fall into place.
And how have you found being a turban Sikh in what is traditionally regarded as a profession that's dominated very much by Western cultures?
I think initially people probably got a little bit of a surprise seeing a turban Sikh in that profession. But I think nowadays it's a pretty international market, so I think people are getting more used to the idea. And certainly there are a lot of turban Sikhs in research at the moment. I know quite a few myself. And it's basically, their message is nothing about being a turban Sikh should stop you achieving your goals.
And Uncle Ji, what's prompted you to join us here today and offer your time and seva at the Careers Fair?
I think what had happened, I don't know if you know the story where my brother-in-law and sister-in-law got killed in a tragic car accident. And they were Sikh professionals, and so we wanted to carry on something in their name, or at least further their cause, to say that yes, you can achieve anything as long as you are determined, and being a Sikh is not only a benefit but actually a help in achieving those things, because it teaches you discipline, it teaches you hard work, it teaches you seva, and it teaches you, gives you focus as well. So all of those things are important for having a career.
Thank you very much for your time, Uncle Ji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're joined by another one of our professionals, and as you can see, we've had an array of all sorts of industries, professions, backgrounds, and career paths. And Uncle Ji joining us today is an IT engineer. Uncle Ji, if you could please give us a bit more of your background, your education, and what's led you to become IT engineer?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I came into UK in 1988 from Kenya. I was born there, studied over there. I came here, got a job here initially, but while doing that job, I got a day release and did my HNC. After that, moved off from there to another job. So eventually got into the IT side, but the thing that surprised me most is wherever I went to, I've hardly found any Sikhs, and if I did, then mainly they're all clean shaven. So very few fully turban bearded Sikhs. Even today, I work in the retail industry, going to all sorts of big stores and fixing tails and their back offices. But even there, we hardly get any Sikhs, and they just like look at you and say, "Oh, okay." So some of them are quite shocked that a fully turban Sikh can come and do all this because they don't expect this from Sikhs.
And just mentioning, you studied in Kenya. What was it that you studied, and what was it that prompted you to go down the path of becoming an IT engineer? Because as you say, it's a very unusual profession.
It's well, in Kenya, I just did up to my GCSEs in Kenya before we moved here. And when we came here, because the age times and or the school terms are different from Kenya, so I couldn't go into A level over here. So I just went on to getting a job and starting a separate course on the side. And the reason I went into the IT was I just wanted to be somewhere inside rather than working outside in the cold. That is the main thing that made me come inside. So such as IT is the easiest thing that gets me to move around, because as I'm a service engineer, so I'm never in one place. And I never liked working in one place. I'd rather move around, go to different jobs all over. So that's what I preferred, and that's what I'm doing now.
Excellent. And then you mentioned about the maintaining of your Sikhi Sarup. How have you found that coming from a society in Kenya, where in East Africa there's a very strong maintaining of the identity, and I presume when you came we probably didn't have as many turban Sikhs, and then also maintaining that Sarup in a profession where, as you say, there are not very many Sikhs at all, let alone turban Sikhs?
A lot of that goes down to my family, my parents, because everyone around me at that time, they were all in the Sikhi Sarups. Most of them still are. And it's just gone down that way in our family that we've all maintained. My brothers are fully turban, my dad is, and everyone around us is. So that's how we've maintained it. And I've never ever thought otherwise that I would be looking any other direction. So this is how I am, and this is how I will be for the rest of my life.
And Uncle Ji, if I could ask you, what prompted you to give up your time and come and do seva here at the Sikh Careers Fair today?
I come here because I'm the treasurer for this Gurdwara, so I spend quite a lot of time here doing all kinds of things, not just my treasury duties, but other things as well. So as I was here, and then Penji asked me to come and have a word. So, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, Uncle Ji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Yet again, we're joined by another one of our very young Sikh professionals who's qualified in the city as a lawyer. Hardeep Kaur, could you give us a little bit of background and detail in terms of what you've done up to this point by way of education and how you've come to be a qualified solicitor in the city?
Hi Dilpreet. So I went to King's College London and did a law degree, and then I did a training, I did the LPC, and then I worked in the city for 2 years at a firm called Freshfields, and I qualified as a city lawyer 2 years ago. Yeah.
And was there a particular specialism or area that you focused in?
So working in the city, I did lots of commercial law, worked for lots of big companies, the FTSE 100 companies, and during my training I moved to different teams just to understand better different parts of the law, but then concentrated on commercial law.
Excellent. And what is it that you do now, and how have you found that? Because you also on the side are very interested in fashion, and how have you maintained that pursuance of your interest as well?
Sure. So after qualifying as a solicitor in the city, I've then moved into a company. This is a fashion company, and I negotiate all of our contracts for the company as well, but in a fashion environment. So I've kind of put together my interest and passion in fashion, but also my qualification as a lawyer. And I enjoy it. It's a difference, really.
And how have you managed to maintain your Sikh identity? Because you have a very strong Sikh identity, but at the same time you've managed to carve out a very unique place for yourself in sort of amongst your Western culture that you have probably grown up in as well.
Sure. I think Sikh society at university played a massive part, where you understand your culture much better, your religion much better, and you meet people who are like-minded. So you meet other people from across the country who are also brought up as Sikhs, who are living in the Western world. So I guess it's just learning those values from a young age, going to university, realising the importance of them and how you can incorporate into your day-to-day life, and then just keeping hold of those moral values in the workplace.
Excellent. And what's prompted you to join us here today at the Sikh Careers Fair and give up your time?
I think it's a wonderful opportunity to do some seva. It's nice to help younger people, just to give a bit of guidance, and to their parents as well. It's tough out there, it's very competitive, and it's nice to know what opportunities there are. And having been at university and working in the city, I have a perspective and would love to share it with someone.
Mandeep Kaur, thank you so much for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're very honoured to be joined by an Auntie Ji who works very hard in social action, equality and diversity as part of the Careers Fair. She's joined us here today. Auntie Ji, welcome, and could you please give us a bit more about your educational background, what's led you to this and what's encouraged you to pursue this career for yourself?
Okay, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I think it's really important in terms of, I think anyone picking a career, that they need to, first of all, be passionate with what they want to do and marry then that up with the academic side as well, if need be. So I've actually had quite a number of careers in my lifetime, and, you know, ranging from the police to media, etc. So why I've actually sort of I've got my own organisation called Gina International is because it actually fit into my lifestyle, and also I'm very passionate about social action, something which is very, I think, which is, I think, in line with Sikhi values as well. And so that's why I'm really passionate in terms of social action. So the work that we deliver and we do is very much about policy, strategy, but also frontline work as well, letting people know. So whether it's young people, women, or people who haven't even got any skills, to say that they have got the skills to do whatever they want, given the resources and tools they've got. So that's where Junior International comes in. So it's very much about making sure the tools and resources that they need, that we give them. But sometimes people think, oh, just because they don't know English, they can't do anything. So nothing is a barrier. Sometimes the only barrier is yourself. And I'll give you an example. So when we do our entrepreneur workshops, etc., they think, oh no, I can't actually do this because I'm married. And they say, oh no, but I've got children. Well, I always ask them as to how many children they've got, and they said, oh, they've got, you know, X amount. I said, well, I've got 5. But as long as you're passionate and there's time management, you can do what you want. So I think anything what anyone wants to do, you can. So in terms of Sikhi now, at times we get a lot of, especially boys that wear their, you know, a pagang and have dariya. They think that they can't do anything because A, that there may be discrimination, and secondly, the fact that it may not actually work with their preferred career. So therefore, they have to cut it, etc. And I always think, well, that may be your perspective, but now with the discrimination law, etc., which we've had on race equality for some time, that there's always ways about of getting around from doing that. So I think being secure in your own skin is probably more, I think, warranted, rather than saying that you can't pursue a career because you've got a pug, etc. So I think when you're growing up as a young person, so whether you are, you know, you feel that you're darker than everyone else, or you're fatter than everyone else, or you've got a pug, right? Don't let that deter you, because you are your own person, and be comfortable in the skin that you're in. And I think that for me is probably the first advice I would give to everyone, is to see, you know, be happy within yourself and then pursue a career, what you want to do. And there's always ways and means of doing about it. I mean, yesterday in the news there was a issue regarding, you know, ethnic minority doctors being discriminated against. So in actual fact, it doesn't matter what you look like or who you are. If there's discrimination, there will be. But I'm very fortunate, I think we're all very fortunate to be in the UK where we have policies and procedures and the law to actually back us up. So I think it's very important in that way to pursue the career you want to do and have the tools and resources that you need to be. Go out there and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. And there will be many doors being shut on your face, but it won't be you as an individual. It may be because you don't fit into the criteria, but also in terms of just going through some of the personal statements I've seen today for UCAS, is the personal statements I don't believe is up to scratch. So I think make sure that those personal statements that you've got for UCAS are up to what you need them to be. For example, are you passionate about the course that you want to do? Go and have a look at the course outline. Have a look, Google it in the pursue the career that you want to do. What is the criteria for that job description and fit it in. Volunteering is a must, I think. It gives you team building experience, gives you confidence. We're currently doing the National Citizen Service Programme, which is a government-led programme for 16, 17-year-olds, and that gives a great platform for 16, 17-year-olds, to enhance their CV, but also to gain confidence, to also team building skills and meeting new people, and also, which is something that's really important with Sikhi, is about social action. So we develop a lot of social action, things around the community that you live with. So David Cameron, he has actually sort of pioneered this whole sort of program to make sure that young people, 16, 17-year-olds, are into social action. So I think it fits very well in with the Sikhi ethos as well. So I think, as a whole, be comfortable who you are and what we are, and just go for it.
Anjiji, thank you so much. You've answered probably my next few questions, but in terms of how you yourself as an individual have managed to marry up not only your personal values, but your Sikhi values, as well as you say, conquering some very strong Western cultures that we all encounter. How have you managed to do that and sort of still hold on to those personal and religious values that you clearly hold very dearly?
I think it's everyone's on a journey. So whether you're 2-year-old or you're 40-something-year-old, that everyone is on that journey. And I think we need to make sure that, first of all, we are surrounded by positivity. Right, so we're not surrounded by people who are negative. So I think coming to the Gurdwara is a great sort of way of doing it. But actually, the Gurdwara isn't the be-all and end-all. I think it's within yourself for who you want to be and what you want to be, and also being open to criticism, but also being open to other ways of thinking as well. When you're growing up in this country, I was born and bred in Birmingham, so I know, I've been there, got the T-shirt, etc. But we as individuals make our own informed choices. It's about having those informed choices and making sure that we have positive role models around us, but also our positive friends as well. And I think sometimes, as parents, we tend to lecture rather than give informed choices. But with the tools and resources that we have in terms of parenting, etc., we'd like to give them informed choices of, actually, if you do this, this is what happens, and if you do this, this may what happen, and then hopefully that young person having ownership of what they want to do. And I think probably more to the point, I think you need to be proud of your own identity and of who you are and what you are. If we look into Sikhi and the social aspect and the social action aspect of it, it is very much about oneself and how you marry up into the community and how we then sustain ourselves within that community. And our identity is actually about preserving life, about justice and fairness. So there's two things that I think that should really be central to our cultural and spiritual heritage and religious heritage, about fairness and justice. So I think if you're not being fair to yourself, there won't be any justice for anything else, is there?
Wise words indeed. And just one final question, because I know that there are sort of kids clamouring up at where you were sitting. If you could please tell us what's prompted you to give up your time to come here today and to assist with the Sikh Careers Fair and do this seva?
I think this is a great opportunity for us, and I've come because I want our children to do this NCS program. So we've got a cohort going in the the half term, so I'm hoping to get some sign-ups from there. But also we've got some in the summer programme as well, so just raising awareness of what the National Citizen Service Programme is, but also actually of letting Sikh children know that be proud of who we are and what we do. If you look at the statistics in this country, Sikh children or Indian children are probably the most, in terms of education, are doing well ahead of everyone else. In terms of also monetary wise as well, we've got the Sikhs are doing very well and on par with the white community of having assets of 250,000. So in terms of economic affluence and education, we're doing very well, and I think we really need to make sure that we're also rooted within our cultural and religious background as well. So that's one of the reasons I'm here, and also I'm here to make sure to let women know as well, and girls, they can pursue any career that they want, and there is equality within our faith.
Auntie Ji, thank you so much for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're joined by somebody from the sciences background. Auntie Ji is a pharmacist and has been coming for the past few weeks to assist at the Careers Fair to provide careers guidance and advice on Sikh youth who want to enter into the sciences and medical professions, because Auntie Ji herself is a pharmacist. Auntie Ji, welcome and thank you very much for your time today. If you could give us a bit more in terms of, or let us know about your educational background and how you came to be a pharmacist.
Okay, I did 3 sciences at A-level, so biology, chemistry and physics, and then followed by a 3-year pharmacy degree course at Leicester University. That's then followed by a pre-registration year, which enables you to qualify and work as a pharmacist.
Excellent. And Auntie, have you found being able to maintain your personal values as a Sikh, as well as at your time, there weren't very many Sikh pharmacists as well. How have you found managing to strike that balance? Because it's obviously something that's quite close to your heart.
Yeah, pharmacy is actually quite a flexible career. So as well as work, it's been able to give me that balanced life where all the weekends I can still dedicate to religion and Sikh values.
Excellent. And in terms of what attracted you to pharmacy in the beginning, why was that?
I think the main attraction for me was being able to help people in the community. So, I mean, patients are welcome to come in and speak to us about any concerns that they have. Sometimes they don't get time to spend with their GPs or with the doctors, and just help them with sort of minor symptoms which we can treat over the counter.
Excellent. And what's attracted you to come in, give your time at this event here today and to assist at the Careers Fair?
Well, I think it's really important for the upcoming youth to have professionals that can provide them with the advice which they may not get elsewhere in quite a relaxed atmosphere. I think it's important that we guide them in the right direction, because there are lots of talented children out there, and with the right advice, maybe they don't have parents that are educated in this country, don't know the system, so we can give them the kind of advice that they need to, get on to the career that they want to.
Auntie Ji, thank you so much for your time. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We're very honoured to be joined by one of our committed and most regular sevadars in this Sikh Careers Fair initiative. Auntie Ji has been helping us in terms of directing the children and parents when they first arrive in the Gurdwara or at the locale, and then understanding their backgrounds, what it is that they need and what it is that they want from this careers fair, and then directing them to the actual professionals. So I think it would be particularly useful for the Sangat out there watching this to get an understanding of what it's like to also be a sevadar in this. Auntie Ji, thank you so much for your time. If you could please give us a little bit of background to yourself, what's encouraged you to come here and come week after week for the last few weeks to assist with this seva?
I've been involved in with Hemkunt Society for about, I think, 20 years. Been taking part in the symposiums, and I've been the judge, and so that's where my involvement started. I thought this was a very good new initiative that we're taking for the children and for the parents. I think it was mostly for the parents, that because the parents couldn't go to school, maybe cannot go to school, and children claim to know everything and may not even ask help for the parents. It was for them. And the second issue is it was especially for the Sikh children, those who were wearing turbans especially, what problems they face at the universities. They could empathize with these children and talk to them through the processes of what actually happens in universities and how can they face the problems that they're facing. And other point is from the very beginning in selection of the subjects. That's so very important for year 8 onwards. If they want to become doctors or teachers, they can talk to the professions here like yourself, and they can make a decision, informed decision about that one. Maybe they're thinking about becoming a barrister like yourself. And when you talk through to them, they say, maybe it's not for me, let me go for being a teacher. So it's very useful. People ask a lot of questions. Parents have been coming to us, they've been asking the questions, and all of you have directed them very well. They've been quite happy with that information that you have imparted to them.
And I was actually going to ask, in fact, what's the reception been like amongst the different gurdwaras that we've been to over the last few weeks, and the Sangat's response in particular, because of course you've been dealing with them directly and you've dealt with almost everyone, whereas we only get a select sample who are sent our way.
I think it's just a starting point. People are not very sure what we've been doing, but they've been coming to us. We are going out to the parents, we're going out to the children to talk to them, and then they realize, what it is about. And I think it started very well. I think it's very encouraging, yes.
Excellent. And what's encouraged you to come back week after week and keep supporting this initiative?
I think there's the issue about children. I'm very interested. I take part because of the children, and it's so rewarding when they say, oh yes, it was useful, sort of, it's the future. I got my child, I know what he's gone through, so I can give a bit of that information, encourage them, and I think it's quite helpful that way.
And Auntie Ji, I know that you teach Punjabi, you do a lot of seva across the Sikh community. What words would you have to impart to the Sikh youth and to their parents, especially in relation to careers and careers guidance?
It's very important to know that there's so much more than the very traditional professions that we got. There's so much more, and it's good to talk about it. Children do claim they know everything, but I don't think they know everything. Like parents don't know everything. It's good to talk about it and know what is there. And some children say, oh, we know, they don't discuss anything at home, and the parents have come to us. When I teach Punjabi, even they come to me and talk to me about it. I tell them not only about Punjabi, I tell them, okay, have you got password for your child's computer and all that? So you must have things like that. We get more involved in that. We not only teach Punjabi, but it's other issues which come up, social issues, we talk about them, and that's, I feel very privileged because I gain so much from the children. While the professionals are here, I think they intermingle, and that's another advantage of that one. They talk to each other. They talk to each other about the experiences. I think that's very, very good.
I think there's been a lot of intermingling and real sense of appreciation given the diversity of the professions that we have. So thank you very much for raising that. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sad Sangat Ji, you've seen what's on offer here today at the Sikh Careers Fair. We've had the fortunate opportunity of being able to interview and speak with just a small number of the sevadars who have come over the past few weeks, and there have been many. This is certainly a unique opportunity. This was the launch event these past few weeks for this initiative.
I think it's gone down very well. We've had a very good positive response from all the sevadars who've helped us, plus the Sangat, parents and students alike. And I think it's the positive feedback is, I think it's a good initiative for people to come to realize that there's a big gap whereby parents, students need information on their careers, what needs doing or what information or guidance that they need. So I think it's been a positive feedback, and we're going to take it further and do a lot more with this. Being the first year, I think it's gone down, and the first time I think we've done very well. And we thank all the Sevadars, all the professionals who came and gave their precious time to speak to the Sangat, dedicated all this time to help them understand or questions that needed answering. And I think it's been a great way of helping the Sangat in many ways.
It really has been, and we've seen that through, as I said, the vast array of professionals who came and the vast array of the Sangat. We've had children as young as 9 and 10, right through school, right up to university, through university, those who have just left, and even adults who have come and have decided that they wanted a career change. This is the unique way for the Sikh community to come together and find ways of bettering ourselves. We have inside knowledge and inside information on a variety of scholarships, training programs, so do please get in touch with us. There will be a Facebook page being launched for this. You can contact us via email at sikhcareers@gmail.com. To all the Sangat, to all the Sevadars who have helped with this, from the bottom of our hearts, certainly, thank you very much. And to the Sikh Channel for coming in and supporting us, absolutely. It's been a great event. It's really given us an insight into the strength and the wealth and the resources that the Sikh community now have, having established themselves here. So do come and join us. If you've got any questions, do please get in touch with us, and we look forward to hearing from you.
The other thing Sikh Channel have given us the opportunities, we probably will be having career fair talks, programs that will be launched, whereby you can have a one-to-one with professionals, view your questions and get them answered. So look forward to that, and keep in touch.
And I think it's about keeping that momentum going. As they say, we have our 3 core tenets in Sikhi: Naam japo, kid karo, van ke shakho. So recite God's name, work hard and share with others. And that's what all the Sevadars here have tried to encapsulate and demonstrate, not just at these events, but throughout their lives. And they have worked hard, and they now just want to share their time with the Sikh youth and with the rest of the Sikh Sangat who want to know. So we look forward to hearing from you as much as possible, and thank you very much to all of you out there who've supported this. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.